Hey you, welcome to or welcome back to Keisha's house, motivation and inspiration. I'm Keisha, and as always, I'm so glad that you stopped by. So today is Monday, February 27th, and yes, we have one day left, and this month is check done. So I gotta tell you, I got up really early this morning. In fact, it was about 3:40 in the morning, but I gotta tell you, I'm not mad at it. I was able to get my workout done, I got ready for the day, and I'm here with you. Last week, we discussed the importance of having a routine and how having solid routines can really help focus us, but also help us with our overall success in our life. Specifically last week, I discussed how although I have a lot of moving parts going on right now, that work was my main focus. I knew if I focused in on having a routine at work, it's a routine that I was able to maintain, mainly because in my personal life, my family's moving and we're all over the place. But as I dove into the week, I realized, I think there's a few more areas that I could tweak outside of work. And one of those areas was my morning routine. And I realized that getting up a little bit earlier each morning allowed me the quiet time I needed and wanted to be able to set my day. And what I really enjoyed was incorporating some of the things I've done in the past that I also enjoyed but really missed. So years ago, I would listen to the Daily Audio Bible every single morning before going to work. And what I loved about it is that if I listened from the 1st of January all the way through the end of the year, you get through the entire Bible in this community where we all are praying for each other and just cheering each other on in just life in general, for the ups and the downs. I knew I missed that community and I missed that part of my routine. So I added it back. But as always, we don't aim for perfection. We aim for doing our best. And there were absolutely days that I missed, mainly because I slept in on those days and I didn't get up early to capitalize on the time that I had in the morning. I have to say though, on those days that I missed that part of my routine, I'm not upset about it. Honestly, I think it's a really great way to test your routine. If you put a routine together and you miss part of it and it doesn't faze you, well, it may not be really providing you any benefit. But if you build your routine and you miss some of it and you realize that, well, now your day seems a little off without it, well, that to me is an indication that yes, that part of your routine is important for your day. And that's really how I focused my last week. I was able to capitalize on my routine at work, but then enjoying that early morning time that I had. And it's paying off. Here I am at the beginning of the week, getting up at 3:40 in the morning. All right, I don't know if I'm going to be getting up that early every day this week, but being able to not have to rush, take my time, and most importantly on a Monday, spend it with you, that's exciting for me. So how did you do last week with your routine? Or did you just find maybe one or two areas that you were going to focus in on? All of that's important because remember, a routine can help us with our overall success. So another thing that I was able to add to my routine last week was getting back to reading hardcover books. It's been nice to be able to take that time to sit down and actually turn the pages and not just listen to an author go over the book with me. And in particular, I started reading What the Dog Saw by Malcolm Gladwell. If you are not familiar with his work, I highly recommend. He also writes for the New Yorker, so he does have shorter articles. You don't necessarily have to go find one of his books, but he's also all over YouTube. And what I really like about his work is that he has this gift to tell a story that's extremely educational, but also very entertaining. So in particular, he starts off this book talking about this family that arguably could be considered the first family of American appliances, and also the founders, or I should say the first to truly establish an infomercial. In their teens at that. Nonetheless, so it starts off with this man named Mr. Morris. He gets in and has this idea for getting some type of cutlery and stuff like that for the kitchen. How to just do things a little bit easier. You know, back then, everyone, if you wanted to cut a carrot or cut an onion, your only option was to take your knife and cut the onion and cry. He knew that there just had to be a better way. So they came up with all of these inventions, but his profession at the time was a pitchman. Now, a pitchman is a modern day salesman. But this particular pitchman would walk up and down the boardwalk of the East Coast, like New York, New Jersey, and was selling different products. Same way if you go to like the county fair or the state fair, you can go to all the different booths and they have products that they're selling and they're showing you how it works. Exactly like an infomercial. And one thing they realized was that they were really good at this and their products people loved. But being a pitchman was not exactly the noblest of careers. So this Mr. Morris, not only did he get his family involved, but really close friends, his brother-in-laws, and they would all work together and come up with inventing kitchen appliances and gadgets that just made life a little bit easier to get your work done. And they would claim that their Chop-O-Matic could cut hundreds of vegetables in minutes. Well, they realized, look, we can't bring hundreds of vegetables with us everywhere we go to pitch to maybe 20 or 30 people at a time. So they did like a 2-minute video and they went to a local TV station and they ended up paying for the cheapest time slots they could. And in about 2 months, they'd sold about 2,500 Chop-O-Matics. It was crazy. And in those times, unheard of that you could sell that much for a 2-minute video. It's craziness. And they would also go to the local stores and say, hey, here is these Chop-O-Matics. We'll sell them to you for about $7. We're gonna retail them for $9 and something. They were making about a $4 buffer of profit there, mainly for the fact they only cost them about $3 and some change to make them. And then they told the stores, hey, if you don't sell them, we'll take them back. No problem. They sold out. So here they now are in this new profession. The family is thriving. They're doing fantastic. And Mr. Morris rolls out a new product, but didn't share it with his nephew, SJ. That's what they called him, SJ. It was like Samuel James or something like that. And well, SJ felt like his uncle's invention was a little too close to his invention, so he sued his uncle. Crazy, right? What money and fame can do to people. So they're sitting in this courtroom. His uncle is on the stand. He's being cross-examined and the lawyers are asking him all these questions. And in the middle of everything, just in the middle of it, the judge yells out, looks at Morris, points at him, and says, I know you, you're a pitchman. And Mr. Morris looks back at the judge without skipping a beat, points his finger back and says, no, I'm a manufacturer and I only hang out with the best people in the business, basically. They didn't say hang out, but they, you know, that's our terms these days. And in the story, the lawyer is saying, I will never forget it. That here they are, this judge and Mr. Morris pointing at each other, and they're both getting redder and redder to the point they had to call a recess. Okay, so long story short, during the recess, Mr. Morris had a heart attack. SJ, his nephew, felt guilty about this. The next day, everything was settled and Mr. Morris miraculously recovers from his heart attack. All right, so what is the point of all of that? In the midst of this court case, this judge, regardless of the success that Mr. Morris has achieved, how he was dressed, how he was carrying himself, his credentials that he had, here was this judge who didn't see any of it, and quite frankly probably was not listening to this case. He was too busy. We're trying to remember who this person was, because now I'm sure we've all been there, right? Have you ever seen somebody's face and you're like, I don't know who you are, but I know you from somewhere? You're not thinking or listening to what's happening around you. You're too busy trying to go through that Rolodex of your mind, just trying to figure out who this person is. And out of nowhere, he points at him and says, you are a pitchman. And remember, that's not a noble career field. And here, Mr. Morris is saying, no, I'm a manufacturer, which is a noble career. He's a businessman. That to me is profound. You are moving through your life, and there are things that you have done, jobs that you have had, titles you have had, places you have been that are no longer your identity. But there's going to be people in your life that are going to come along and say, although you are not there now, I only see you as what you once were. They only see you as what you once were. But what I love is that Mr. Morris didn't shrink back. Mr. Morris didn't say yes, but Mr. Morris didn't try to now defend himself and say, well, I used to be in that, but see, I'm really trying to. No. He said with conviction, no, I'm a manufacturer. He said, I am not what I once was. I am this. This is who I am in this season and in this moment. I am a manufacturer. And he held his ground. There is so much to learn here. Hold your ground. No one can tell you that who you are today isn't you. And that gets me to this week's quote. Know first who you are. Who are you? Who are you? You're not who you were 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 3 months ago. Who are you? And then adorn yourself accordingly. If you define the word adorn, it means to make yourself beautiful, make yourself attractive. And oftentimes I think when we hear make yourself beautiful or make yourself attractive, we think that it has to be something external. We think that it has to be the clothes that you're wearing or how you wear your hair. No, I take adorn as meaning make yourself beautiful, which means enhance yourself in who you are. And what Mr. Morris had and what he passed on to his nephew, SJ, and who SJ passed on to his children who are still successful to this day in this space is passion. Mr. Morris looked at that judge with passion and told that judge who he was. Adorn yourself with passion. Identify who you are and adorn yourself accordingly. Is it going to be passion? Is it going to be confidence? Is it going to be diligence? Being adorned in beauty, it doesn't have to be external or attire. It could be your character. So that's the goal for this week. Lean into who you are today and have confidence about it. Adorn yourself accordingly. Again, know first who you are and then adorn yourself accordingly. That is the challenge for this week. Don't let anything, anyone tell you that you're not who you are. With that being said, have an excellent week. Till next time, I'll see you soon.